Hello, I am Avlas Chand and welcome to Complete LaTeX tutorial series. In this video, we shall learn to create a document with the help of TextMaker using few basic commands and also learn basic text formatting. You may also start to practice writing this document with me. So, without further ado, let us start today's class. When I open TextMaker from my desktop, this is the window I will get. First, you have to click on this new icon. Then you have to save this untitled document first before running it. For example, if I write a basic code and try to run it, it will show error. Now in preamble, let us define the document class. Here in square bracket, I'll define font size. Let me write 11 point as a font size. We also can define 10 point or 12 point as a font size to our liking. Here the default font size is 10 point, but I prefer 11 point. Another thing is, content of this square bracket is completely optional. We can leave this out if we want, and by default our font size will be set as 10 point. Next, in curly bracket, we have to define our class. Let me define article as my class for now. Now, let us end the preamble here and start writing the document environment. Remember, in preamble, the contents we have written is not gonna show up in output document. The contents we want to see in our output document must be written in document environment. So let us start our document environment by typing begin document. And as I have mentioned earlier, every begin document must have an end document. Otherwise, it will show error when we try to compile. Now, let me write hello, I am Avilas. This is my first LaTeX document practice. Now let us run this code by clicking on this quick build. As you can see, it's showing error as I have not saved this document yet. So let me save this document first. Now I'll go to the file section and click on save as, and let me save this in documents LaTeX classes and name this file as, let's say, class 1, and click on this save button. So now if I click on this quick build, it should run without any error. So as you can see, this is my output, and in this document environment I have written this line, and in output this line is shown. Another thing is, just to compile a code bit faster from now on, instead of clicking run key manually, I'll just press F1. For example, let us start writing more in document environment. First, let me create a section. I'll create a section by writing \section introduction, and then let me write note F1 key equal to run or quick build in LaTeX. And if I now press F1, instead of clicking on this run key, it should run. So let me just press F1. As you can see, in output window, it's showing F1 key equal to run in LaTeX. So, and this is our section, and by default this section numbering is starting from 1. Notice, if I don't want this default numbering in my section, I can just add a star here, and if I run, then default numbering is gone. But for now, let me keep my default numbering. Now let us learn some more stuff in document environment. LaTeX does not recognize the spaces in coding section. I can put as many as spaces I want while writing a sentence in LaTeX, but when I run, it won't show in output document. For example, is space and space example sentence, and run this. In this output section, you can see there is no spaces between words. Here you can see there are spaces, but in output there is no spaces between these words. I think it's a good thing, so that if you by mistake put some extra spaces in coding, it won't ruin your output document. Now If you want to intentionally add some spaces in a sentence, you can use backslash followed by a comma and it will add a space in output document. Example, this backslash comma backslash comma backslash comma backslash comma is an example sentence. And if I run this now, in the output you can see there is a space. So if you want to add space manually, you can always use backslash followed by a comma. Another thing, notice, since I am leaving a blank line in document environment, then the next phrases are starting from the next line with an indent. Here this is an indent, this is an indent. It's because I am using hard written or paragraph break. For example, so if I run this, it should definitely leave an indent. So as you can see, it is leaving an indent. So how to start next line without an indent? Answer is, we will use soft return or two backward slashes at the end of previous line. Example, if I put two backward slashes here and write this line, and if I run this, it won't leave an indent. As you can see, this line didn't start with an indent. Also, there is another way. We can use backslash no indent command to write any random line without an indent, even with hard return. Example, take this sentence. So here we have used backslash no indent command and also using a hard return. Now if I run this, as you can see, there is no indent here. Another thing is, if we want, we can remove default page numbers from our document. To do this, we have to type backslash page style empty in preamble. So let's go to preamble section and type backslash page style empty. Now if I run, as you can see, there is no page numbering, but for now let us keep the page numbering. So I'll remove this page style empty and I will again click run, and as you can see, page numbering again appeared. Next, we will learn about text formatting a bit. So let us create another section named as text formatting, and let me run this. As you can see, there's another section created named as text formatting. Let me zoom in a bit so that you can view clearly. Now let's say after I set my font size to 11 point in preamble, I want to change my font size due to some reason. Then I can do that by writing following codes.
So here are the two formats we can use to change the font size manually. Now let us run. So as you can see, this is the font size in huge and this is the font size in large. So these are the two formats I can use to change the font size in LaTeX. First format is, I have to write backslash begin curly bracket huge and then end this by backslash end in curly bracket huge. And another format is backslash my font size in curly bracket my sentence. Next, other font sizes in LaTeX can be seen if I click on this icon. So as you can see, other available font sizes are tiny, script size, footnote size, small, normalize, large, and this large, this capital LARGE large, and huge, and this huge. So these are the available font sizes in LaTeX. So first let me write the codes here. Okay, now I have written all these codes for tiny, script size, footnote size, small, normalize, and 3 types of large and 2 types of huge font size. Now let me run this code. So these are the available font sizes. Okay, let me remove the indent from here by typing backslash no indent. Okay, this looks nice. So as you can see, this is tiny font size, this is script size font, and these are all the 3 types of large, and these are huge, and so on. These are the available font sizes in LaTeX.
Next, let me write another sentence. Say, yesterday it rained heavily. Now let me copy and paste it few more times. Now notice one thing. If I remove this curly bracket from here and I run this program, then as you can see, all the rest of the documents will be written in that particular font size, and in this case footnote size. So we need to always use curly bracket while writing the font size command. So let me put back the curly bracket here. Next set of font modifications available are emphasize, bold, italicized and underline. Now let me demonstrate writing these commands. So these are the commands. For italicized I have used backslash text it. For boldface I have used backslash text bf. For underline I have used backslash underline, and for emphasized text I have used backslash emph. So let me run now. Okay, there is an indent here and it does not look good. So let me write no indent here. Okay, this looks good now. So as you can see, these are the italicized, boldface, underlined and emphasized font modifications. Also, if we want, we can use both bold and underline or any other combination simultaneously. So let me demonstrate this by writing another example. So this is an example of both bold and underline text. Let me run this. As you can see, these two words are both bold and underlined. So the commands I have used here is backslash underlined, in curly bracket bold and underlined, and again backslash text bf in curly bracket this bold and underlined. Next, another thing to note that LaTeX by default cannot process a long underlined sentence which breaks into next line. For example, so this is a long sentence and I have used backslash underline command here. So let's see what happens when I run it. So as you can see, the line does not break here as we have used underline command in a long sentence. To resolve this issue, we need additional uline package and uline command. Now let me demonstrate this by writing use package uline in preamble. And in document section, let me use uline command instead of underline command. So I have used uline command here instead of underline. Now let's see what happens if I run this now. Okay, as you can see, issue is resolved here and underlined long sentence break into next line. Here another thing I would really like you to know that if you have installed TechMaker software recently, then you might not have uline package pre-installed on your desktop. But that's not a major issue. As I have mentioned in my previous class, if you don't have a package pre-installed, that package will be installed automatically when you press run key. Here I have installed uline and other packages I am gonna use in my tutorials. So all my commands run smoothly. But just to demonstrate you what happens if you don't have a package installed, I'll run a new random package at the end of today's class so that you can see what happens when you try to run while running a package which is not installed yet. Next, moving on, we can also change our fonts to small caps and typewriter font. Examples. So these are the commands for small caps and typewriter font. For small caps, we shall use backslash text sc. For typewriter font, we shall use backslash text tt. Now let me run this. Let me again put no indent. Now this looks good. So this is small caps text and this is typewriter font. Another note, in LaTeX website addresses are written in typewriter font. Now let us use to write a sentence containing a web address. So I have used \TextTT for typewriter font, and this is my web address. Now let me run this. As you can see, this looks perfect, but if I click here, nothing happens. It's just a text font, but we can easily change it to a clickable address using \URL command. Example. So I have used URL command and www.bing.com as my web address. Now let me run this. As you can see, it's showing an error here because here we also need an additional hyperref package to make this link clickable. So let me write hyperref package in preamble. Okay, so in preamble I have written a hyperref package. Now let me run this again. As you can see, this runs without any issue. So here is my web address, and if I move my mouse point over this text, it becomes clickable, and if I click on this, it's taking me to official Bing website. Now let me get back to my TechMaker window. Next, we can also make a certain clickable word or phrase instead of writing whole website address by using \href command followed by two curly brackets, where the first bracket will contain the web address and second bracket will contain the word or phrase you want to be clickable. Let me write an example here. Okay, so here I have used \href command, and in first curly bracket I have put my web address, and in my second curly bracket I have put my word. So let me run this and see what happens. Okay, this is my sentence, and as you can see, if I move my mouse point over the word here, it becomes clickable, and if I click on this, it is taking me to bing.com. So using hyperref package and href command, I can open Bing website directly from my PDF. Next, we will write something in left, center and right side of the page. For this, we will use +left, center and +right command respectively. Now let me write this code fast. So these are my codes, and my first command starts with \begin +left and ends with \end +left, and this is my sentence. And this command put my sentence on the left side of the page, and my second command is begin center and ends with \end center, and this is my sentence. This command should put this sentence in the middle of the page, and finally my last command \begin +right. This is an example, and ends with \end +right. This command should put this line on the right side of the page. Now let me run this and see whether it happens or not. Okay, as you can see, this line is on left side, this is centered, and this is on the right side. So finally, let me demonstrate an example of what happens when you try to run a package which is not already pre-installed. First, let me create a section named as package installation. So if you are relatively new user of TechMaker, then chances are many useful packages won't already be pre-installed, and you will need to install them if you want to run your program successfully. It's a very simple process. Nevertheless, I'll demonstrate you by trying to run my program with a package which is not already installed in my system. So I have not used booktabs package yet, and now let me write the code in my preamble section, and if I run this, let's see what happens. As you can see, there's a new window pops out, and here it is asking me to whether should I install or not. If I want to successfully run my program, I have to install this, and since I am connected to internet right now, it should take me few seconds depending on my internet speed. And as you can see, my program ran successfully and I can use all the functions of booktabs package. Now let's not get into what is the function of booktabs package. In another future class, I will explain functionality of few important packages. So with this, let us end this class. Please do practice all the things you have learned here in TechMaker, or maybe you can use Overleaf if you don't want to install any software. So, in our next video, we shall be focusing on writing common mathematical notations. Thank you. Have a good day. Please like, comment, share and subscribe if you find this video useful.